All right, let's get right into it. Back in March of 2026, something absolutely wild happened in the digital world. It wasn't just one single hack. It was, well, a perfect storm of several massive crises all hitting at the exact same time. We're talking about a scale and complexity that's pushing security teams to their absolute limits.
And at the very heart of this storm, 5 major open source projects. The fundamental code that basically the entire internet is built on, all of them compromised.
And what's really insane is the speed. All 5 of these major hacks went down in just 12 days. 12! That kind of speed, that velocity, it just changes the entire game for everybody. So, to try and make some sense of all this chaos, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll get a big picture view of this digital perfect storm. Then we'll dive deep into the supply chain, which is totally under siege. We'll look at the critical flaws in our infrastructure, the absolute madness of leaked spy tools, and then cover some of the new battlegrounds popping up. And finally, we'll tie it all together and look at the 3 big trends that are really defining what's happening. Okay, first up, the overview. What you have to understand is that this isn't just one thing. It's a bunch of separate, really dangerous threats, all converging at once. It's not a war on one front, it's a conflict on all fronts, and it's putting defenders in an almost impossible position. And that brings us to what is maybe the single biggest, scariest part of this whole mess, the software supply chain. See, attackers aren't just trying to kick down the front door anymore. They're poisoning the well. They are compromising the very code that developers around the world trust and use every single day. I mean, just look at this list of projects that got hit in that 12-day window. You've got Axios, which is a super common tool for web development. Then you have Trivy and Checkmarks, which are security tools. That's right, the watchdogs themselves got hacked. Then there's Light LLM for AI and Telnex for communications. It's pretty clear attackers were hitting the ecosystem from every possible angle. And if you really want to understand the impact, just look at Axios. This one package gets over 100 million downloads a week. 100 million. When something that popular gets compromised, the malware just spreads like wildfire through the entire digital world, embedding itself into who knows how many apps before anyone even has a clue. So, who's pulling the strings here? Well, according to Google's threat intelligence team, the Axios attack traces back to a group they call UNC1069, which is a very sophisticated crew linked to North Korea. So no, this isn't random. It's a targeted, nation-state operation, and they're using our open-source world as their new highway for attacks. Now, this is where you can really see the sneaky creativity of these attackers. In the Telnex hack, they used a technique called steganography. It's basically the art of hiding something in plain sight. In this case, they literally hid their malicious, password-stealing code inside a totally harmless-looking audio file. It's like something out of a spy movie. Okay, so on one hand, the code libraries we all rely on are under attack. But at the exact same time, the actual hardware and enterprise software that powers global business, that invisible backbone of the internet, is starting to show some really serious cracks. Right now, defenders are in an all-out race to patch 3 incredibly severe flaws that are being actively exploited. We're talking a bug in Citrix NetScaler that lets attackers just take over the device. Another one in Fortinet allows for something called remote code execution, which basically means an attacker from anywhere in the world can run any code they want on your system. It's game over. And a third in F5's Big IP lets them install permanent backdoors. All of them are rated critical. And the scale here is just massive. The security firm Shadow Server found at least 30,000 of these Citrix appliances just sitting on the open internet, completely vulnerable to this flaw. Every single one of them is like an unlocked door into a company's network. So as if all that wasn't nearly enough, the very same month things escalated dramatically. We saw the public leak of powerful government-grade hacking tools. And let me be clear, these are not your average malware kits. These are digital weapons built by nation-states. And it wasn't just one. 2 completely separate toolkits got out. On one side, you have Karuna, which is linked to a US military contractor. On the other, Darksword, which comes from the dark matter group in the Gulf region. But here's the truly insane part about Darksword. It wasn't just leaked, it was posted for free on GitHub for anyone to download. That's like leaving the keys to a weapon of war just lying on the sidewalk. It's a huge deal. So why should you care? What does this mean in the real world? Well, these tools are designed to chain together a bunch of unknown bugs to totally take over iPhones. And experts estimate that hundreds of millions of unpatched phones out there are now vulnerable to attack from tools that used to be reserved for the world's top spy agencies.
And, believe it or not, the perfect storm doesn't stop there. While all this is going on with the supply chain, infrastructure, and those leaked tools, the battle is just raging on a bunch of other fronts. So let's do a quick lightning round to get the full picture.
First up, the FBI is warning that Russian intelligence is going after users of Signal and other encrypted apps. They're actively trying to break down the very tools we all rely on for secure private communication.
Next, the Department of Justice just took down 4 gigantic botnets. These were networks of more than 3 million infected smart devices, your cameras, your routers, that were being used to launch massive denial-of-service attacks to knock websites offline.
And finally, even the shiniest new technology is not immune. Major security flaws were found all across the AI world, in ChatGPT, Google's Vertex AI, you name it. It's just a stark reminder that every time we innovate, we also create new ways to be attacked. The next big battle is already here.
So, okay, let's take a breath. After all of that, how on earth do we make sense of this chaos? Well, it really seems to boil down to 3 major connected trends that are defining this new era of cybersecurity.
And as Charles Carmichael, the CTO of Mandiant, puts it, none of these attacks happen in a vacuum. He says the secret stolen in one of these supply chain hacks will directly fuel the next wave of ransomware and crypto heists. Everything is feeding everything else.
And this leads us to the 3 big takeaways. Number 1, the open-source supply chain is no longer a secondary target, it is the new front line for nation-state attacks. Number 2, we are seeing a wild democratization of power. Government spy tools are no longer secret, they're on GitHub for all to see. And number 3, AI is the ultimate double-edged sword. It's a brand new, vulnerable thing to attack, and it's also a powerful new tool to build even better attacks.
In all of this, it forces us to ask one final, really critical question. In a world where anyone can download a government's spy tools, where the very code we build our world on is being poisoned, and where AI is helping both the good guys and the bad guys, what does the word secure even mean anymore?